Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Morning show is back here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, JC, Alfonso, we're with you. What up, chat? Hope you all had a good weekend. Good weekend, right? Yeah, it's a little bit rainy in some parts of the country, but if you are in the southeastern part of the U.S. and you have internet, I hope you're safe. And even if you don't have internet, I hope you're safe. So let's get the show on the road here. What's going on today? We got Howard Lindzon on. So he'll be on the show in a half hour. So it's fun to talk to him. We'll have Sam Gatlin making, I guess, the first of his new regular bi-weekly appearances on this show. So that'll be fun. It'll be we'll get us an hour from now. We get Sam on, talk some charts. And that's the plan. Kind of a weird day for automaker stocks this morning. EV stocks up, traditional automaker stocks down. We'll talk about that. I don't really know what's on JC and Steve's radar. I'll be honest. I have no clue. I'm sure they know, but I have no idea. So we'll find out together. How about that? Let's do it. Smash the like. Here we go.
Oh man, can I just tell you how great it is to wake up in the morning and like you forget because you were dreaming and you're watching football and you wake up and you're like, today is the day. Today is the day that we get monthly candlesticks. Like you forget, like you know who's coming, but then like you forget because you're distracted, and then you remember. It's like, oh yeah. Ooh.
Monthlies.
The monthly candlesticks in China are going to be Hall of Fame candles.
Oh, they already are.
Hall of Fame candles.
Spencer. Before we get into state of the markets, I cheated, Strazza. I cheated. I've been looking at the monthly.
Dude, look at these things.
I had to look at the monthly. Spencer is real. Before we get into state of the market, sorry, I know I caught you off guard, but like we're on here. There it is. There it is. Look at that. Look at that handsome fellow right there. Look at that stick.
Dude, it's
4
crazy.
months of engulfing here.
You know, stuff like this, looking back already, it seems like, of course, China was going to join the bull market eventually. I think you were making some good points on Twitter. These are the most hated stocks, or the most hated group of stocks in the most hated region around the world. We talk about the dynamics of a short squeeze and the importance of positioning. You need incremental buyers. And when nobody owns something, when nobody owns a market as big as China and it starts working, that momentum trade is real.
For the record, not only did people not own China, according to Bank of America fund manager survey coming into September, it was one of the most crowded trades in the world was short China.
So, I think India is the obvious answer as the source of funds here, down 1% today. But really, the way it looks today is Japan. The performance gap between the Shanghai Composite and the Nikkei 225 is about 12 percentage points today. That's insane. Nikkei's down 4% out here. China's up 8-10%. Wow.
Well, to be fair, Japan is kind of like Notre Dame. It kind of trades like on its own. It's doing its own thing over here. China also kind of does its own thing, so you have two different countries, very different stock markets, completely different, and they dance to the beat of their own drum anyway, right? So just think, let's put that in perspective. Spencer is here. Why don't we hit the state of the markets?
Sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Dow futures down 80 points this morning, 42,576. New all-time highs to close the week. S&P 500 down 14 handles. That's 5777. Also, new all-time highs. That's about 25 basis points to the downside this morning. NASDAQ 100 leading the way lower, down almost 1/3%. 20,160 for the NASDAQ 100 futures. 30-year bond futures down 0.5%, 124 and change for the 30-year. Crude oil flat, 68.25. Copper down 0.2%, just above 4.5 for copper. Gold down 1/3%, 26.60. New all-time highs as well. Silver down 1%, 31.5, with the volatility index back above 17. Back above 17 for that volatility index. Over in funny money land, Bitcoin down 2 2/3%, 63,850, down to almost 2,000 points this morning. Ethereum down a full percent, 2630. Solana down almost 3%, 150. Solana down 1.6%, 156 for Solana. Binance down 3.5%, back under 600. That's 575 for Binance. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, 2.2 trillion. 2.2 trillion. Bitcoin dominance still above 57%. How do we feel about the futures this morning?
Copper stands out as
Copper
one
stands
that's
out. Why?
not doing what I would expect it to do. So I don't know about you, but the Chinese manufacturing data, was it as good for you as it was for the Shanghai Composite this morning? So China
So this is, hold on, let me get this straight. This is data that the Chinese Communist government is telling you, and as investors, we're supposed to believe them?
Not only that, not only is all that true, but the data came in it's less bad data. It's not good data. It's just less bad. That's causing this reaction, right? So the Chinese manufacturing data is apparently all the news this morning that's moving the market.
Dude, the day I'm looking at the Chinese manufacturing data is just punch me in the face as hard as you can. Just like,
well, they got like PMIs and CPEs and PC, all the same stuff we got, but the Chinese version. It's crazy, right? So anyway, they had their little PMI situation out today. The market loves it. However, I would expect copper to also be moving higher and confirming this price action like we saw all last week as China rallied, right? Copper kind of head faked higher this morning, and now you got a big red candle there. If I look at Freeport McMoran or Southern Copper Co. pre-market, they don't seem to like it either. So that's just something that's a little bit different from last week. Not getting that, early intraday confirmation from copper for China, which I think is important.
Can you throw that relationship there, please, Mr. Spencer Israel? Slide 3. Despite the changes in the weightings in China are very different these days than they were 15, 20 years ago. Despite all of that, the relationship with copper remains strong. Any thoughts on this, Strazza?
No, this is real. This is a real correlation. You would imagine this base in copper breaks out now that we're getting this kind of spicy upside action from China. However, just saying, today, copper not moving in the same direction. So listen, maybe over the near term, over the short term, this trade is kind of overheated. I think that would make sense. When you get momentum in these stocks, you never want to fade it, right, or bet against it, but you do want to give some time for things to cool off, a little backing and filling, a little digestion here. I think that would be more than constructive for this theme right now, and you're starting to see it from copper this morning.
Can you throw up slide 5 so you can see that rate of change? So this was the best week for Chinese stocks ever in the history of the Chinese market. And by the way, so not like lies that their government tells you. These are actual price, right? So these are facts, right?
And today's going to be the best day ever outside of March 2022, and it will be the best day ever, or the best day since the financial crisis in local terms. So it's just like the momentum thrust. JC, we talk about it. When do you trust the breadth thrust, right? When you just get a ton of them. Same thing with momentum thrusts. We're getting it, on the 1 day, on the 3 day, on the 10 day. Now in the 1 week, we're probably going to get stuff on the 2 week, right? They just keep popping up. We're getting them in the Chinese tech indexes. We're getting them in the individual components. We're getting them in the FXI. We're getting them in the local indexes, the Shanghai and the Shenzhen, the Hang Seng. You could say the same thing. The EWH, Hong Kong in US dollar terms. It's just momentum thrust city out here. This is how you want to see new trends take shape, right? With a bang like this, a nice
out of the gates, quick. When you go back and you study all the greatest bull markets ever, all the greatest, biggest moves of all time,
huge,
similar to this, right?
Huge initiation readings are not uncommon in the very, very early innings of a new bull, and I think this is a brand new bull run for not just China, but I think really all of Southeast Asia.
And historically, is this evidence of exhaustion at all? Is this something that we see near the end of trends at all?
It's a great question. You do get, blowout readings to the upside and also the downside at the end of trends. We call that exhaustion. So you can't just look at the rate of change indicator in a vacuum. You can't look at the chart in the bottom by itself. Then you have to go to the trend, right? And say, how long has this trend been in place when you're trying to make a determination between exhaustion or initiation? Right now, you can't look at this and say it's exhaustion. Maybe over the super near term, that would be normal. But over any primary trend sort of time frame, this hasn't been an uptrend for several years now, right? So how's it exhaustion? This could only be initiation. What?
It's hard for an uptrend to be exhausted if there is no uptrend, right?
Nailed it, brother. Yes.
I mean, right, you see what I did there? I got one for you, Strazza. Here we go. Throw up the new slide too here, Spencer Israel, please, if you will, my good man. This one I thought was interesting. Not something you see often. We've seen similar sort of circumstances before, but how quickly does the S&P 500 for China, which is the China CSI 300, how quickly the S&P 500 from China goes from making new 52-week lows to closing at a new 52-week high, like overnight.
I love that. Right?
Wow.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, I'm impressed, and like, it takes a lot to impress me. I feel like I'm a little punch drunk at this point in my career. Like, it's hard for me to be like, oh wow. But oh wow. I mean, that's from new 52-week lows to new 52-week highs, like that. Ain't that some shit?
And they're not the only ones. Like if you pull up Thailand index, what's the other one? Indonesia looks similar. They were just at new cycle lows this summer. Some of them in early August. Something like THD. And then bang, up what? 25-30%. So it's really good stuff. Really good stuff brewing out there. Let them cool off,
and Strazza talks about the sort of ancillary countries, kind of revolving around the China situation, and all that is great for confirmation. But let's remember that all of these countries are rounding errors in the whole scheme of things. It's nice confirmation, but this is the big daddy of them all. This is it. Seeing those others confirm is great, but correct me if I'm wrong, Strazza. This is the granddaddy right here.
Well, the others were already in place, right? So it actually worked in the opposite way this time. You look at something like Malaysia; it's been working all year. Some of these Southeast Asian countries. So I think China was kind of like that last data point that we absolutely needed for the Southeast Asia theme to really be in full effect, and we got it. And not only did we get it, but in a massive way. Because I don't think you would want to trust the action in Malaysia or Thailand without China. I think that's absolutely critical for the story, right? So now
those countries don't matter. They don't matter. This one really does, right?
But hold on, you could find some stocks, JC, that are based in these countries that really do matter, right? And we're doing like a deep dive report on them now.
Really, like who?
Grab Holdings comes to mind right now. Did we talk about the Grab on the show?
How much does that actually matter in the whole scheme of things?
So this was the largest Southeast Asia IPO at the time. It was the largest like startup, $40 billion market cap. When they SPAC'd it a few years back. Absolutely huge. So all Grab is they bought Uber's Southeast Asia division back in 2018. That's what Grab is. Grab is Uber with a new name and a new place. And it's actually not even a new place. Uber was there 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? They just didn't. It's hard. They got like dogs and cows on the streets out there. Different regulatory environment.
The dogs. They're eating the cats.
Yep. So there's that too.
Eating the pets of the people.
But look at this. This is what's happening out here. It's charts like this. Doesn't get much better than this. I mean, this is so good. The Uber of Southeast Asia, ladies and gentlemen. What's not to love?
I got something on China, and I'm curious to see how this finishes up the month. Mr. Spencer Israel, if you throw up slide 6, that would be very helpful, please. So this is, speaking of important, this is probably top 5 most important indexes in the world, I would argue.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Would you agree that the EFA, I mean, you got to put EFA ahead of EEM, like on paper, right?
There are such enormous bases, particularly in US dollar terms, in these overseas indexes. I mean, this is a great example, but go look at the EWQ. France has it. Germany already came out of one. You could look at something like Italy, the UK. Like, there's just massive bases out here everywhere. And now the ones out in Asia are really shaping up too. And these are like multi-year rounding bottoms. Like,
why don't we explain to the folks what's in here, for those not familiar with the EFA and why it's so important?
This is developed markets outside of North America. So it's no Canada, no United States, and then cap weighted developed around the world. Probably a lot of Germany and Japan.
You've got a lot of Europe in general. So not just Germany, but can you throw up the Germany chart, slide 7, the new slide 7. This a lot of Japan, a lot of Europe, Australia. That's basically it. I mean, you could just say Japan and Europe because that really dominates that fund. Sprinkle a little Aussie in there. But that's basically what you're looking at. Here's, in my opinion, the second most important stock market on the planet. Not that it matters so much. We could talk about how, it's definitely top 5 with some of the others. Gun to my head, Germany is the second most important stock market in the world. Like I said, China dances to the beat of its own drum. Japan has its own situation going on over there. So it's kind of hard for me to put those at number 2. I go Germany. You think that's far off, or is this one of those times where you agree with me?
Listen, I'm open to a lot of things for stock markets around the world.
What a cop-out answer. What a cop-out.
I think emerging is going to be leadership. I think that makes the most sense.
I'm not saying that it needs to be a leader. I'm just talking about the importance of the index. I'm not saying whether it's a leader or not. I mean, it is a leader, but
yeah,
whether it was or whether it wasn't.
You got the DAX and the Nikkei, and then everything else is really the way I look at it.
Yeah, like that, huh? You don't even include China in the most important, obviously. It's proven that it's not. Yeah, okay.
Listen, it's like, hey, welcome China to the party that's already been in place for 2 years, right? If they gave us critical information about the broader market, then where have they been?
Yeah. Like what was that? What was that movie that they did in where they robbed the casino? What was that? Ocean's 11? Like the guy's like, where the fuck you been? Right?
Yeah. That's a good gift. Yeah.
That's that guy. That guy's hilarious. Where the fuck you been? Right? That's China. That's everybody to China now. Welcome. Where you been, yo?
Yes, about time.
So how about I got one more chart for you. Can you throw up? I got 2 more charts for you. Throw up the sentiment, slide 5 here, and then we'll finish with the last chart, and we'll bring in Kenny. So I'm getting the notifications on the Twitter, and I'm getting emailed also how everybody's bullish. There are no bears left, and you know me. I go to the data, right? Like let's see if in fact there are no bears left. Let's see if that actually is true. As it turns out, not only is it not true, not only is it a lie that there aren't any bears left, you're still in the upper end of the range from the year. Like you have almost the most amount of bears in the 2024. So not only are there no bears left, not only is that not true, you still have some of the most bearish sentiment that we've seen the whole year, actually, which is mind-boggling to me, with the stock market continuing to make new all-time highs. And how about the bulls in the green, right? So you got the bears in the red, the average bears between individual investors and newsletter writers. So like some of the worst types of investors on the planet. And then you've got the number of bulls. And again, kind of towards the lower end of the range. You're somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the lower end of the range. So like when people are like, oh, nobody's bearish, everybody's bullish, they're lying to you. Or worse, they didn't even look, right? Where that makes it worse.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
This is a little surprising. You would think that there would be more, fewer bears, more bulls, you'd think.
This is like full green light, all systems go. How you cannot be bullish right now blows my mind. Right?
And then one more chart. One more chart,
JC,
I think you're going to like this one.
And JC, we talk about how big it is when the market bucks the seasonal trend. We have a big seasonal headwind over the very near term right now into the election that we see so consistently.
September's the worst month of the year. How'd they do? Pretty good from what the data suggests.
The list of bullish data points I don't think has been this long since.
Why is the chat always picking on Dan Nathan? Why are you guys always picking on Dan?
He's like the best perma bear. Leave him alone.
He's a good egg. I like Dan Nathan. I don't read his research, so I don't know what he's doing. But like I've had dinner with him a million times. Super nice.
You need perma bears. You need them.
We need the bears. We need the bears.
You need the bears. You need the bears.
The bears. The bears.
I mean, think about it. If it wasn't for these loser perma bears, like would we have as much money as we do? Would we? I mean, come on. Like, somebody, and you know what somebody told me today? They're like, JC, It's not right. What did they tell me? Here, I'll tell you what they told me. You know what these bastards told me today? Some Karen on the internet tells me, let's see, says, cheering at others' misfortune is disgraceful. Bullshit. That's not disgraceful to cheer for short sellers and Chinese equities to get smoked. There's nothing wrong with that. Fuck them. Why is that disgraceful? To not profit from their poor decision making now, that's disgraceful.
I would say maybe in other areas of life it could be. In this area, it is not only is it not disgraceful, it's necessary, right?
It's necessary, it's profitable. This is how you take care of your family, by kicking them when they're down.
Not everybody identifies with it on such a personal basis, though. Like I can make money in the stock market and know that someone has to be losing money while that's happening, but not think about how I'm hurting them. Like there are kinder ways to go about thinking about this, is all I'm saying.
Oh no, I'm the opposite. I want them to get destroyed. I want those margin clerks to take their entire portfolio, spray the market, and ruin their lives. Oh yeah, I don't give a shit.
Whatever helps you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Margin clerks don't use limit orders, bro. Spray that shit.
Sure.
And last chart, slide 10. This is come on. This is a cherry on top. Cherry on top right here. What are you thinking? Are you not entertained?
Bang. Yeah, fantastic.
This is a S&P 500 on an equally weighted basis. Equally weighted.
All-time highs, not bearish.
Probably not bearish. Probably not just 7 stocks either.
Oh, right? No, but breadth is great right now. Listen, breadth is big things from breadth. Have you seen all the worst stocks? Are you paying attention to the really bad ones, guys?
Oh, you know it. Have you seen the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line? How about the value line geometric index?
Shout out value line.
Shout out value line. I heard, throw up new slide 7. You know what I was told?
And then I'm bringing Kenny on.
Yeah, they'll bring Kenny on. I was told that this is the hipster index. This is only like 5 or 6 hipsters actually follow this index, is what I was told. And that particular person is thrilled that I am one of those hipsters that focuses on these names.
They keep taking my data. Are you having this issue too? Like across my charting platforms, I don't know what the situation is. If it just got more expensive to get the value line price data, but I'm losing it everywhere, and I'm freaked out by it. Okay,
it's right here. Here we go. Here we go. New multi-year highs for the value line geometric index. This index goes back a long time, and it has a lot of components. Great index. Sort of represents the median stock here, making new multi-year highs. Man.
Okay. Yeah.
Not bearish.
This is fantastic. This means the path of least resistance is now higher for the average stock.
Median.
JC, it's the same thing.
Anyway, it's not.
Fine. So the majority of stocks.
What kind of math nerd are you if you're telling me it's the same thing? It's a half-ass math nerd, if you ask me.
Grow up. The people don't need to know the difference about this.
I think they do.
The average stock is now in an uptrend. This has not been the case this entire bull market. A lot of stocks have been in uptrends. The best stocks have been in uptrends for a long time now, but most stocks have not been in uptrends. Also, jacked up. Thanks for making our point. Even Tom Lee is bearish right now. Like that's the sentiment around the election cycle. Nobody believes we could flip it in the rally mode into and ahead of the election. Everybody's calling for it after. It's happening right now. Nobody wants to believe it.
Dude, even Tom Lee.
The biggest bull on the street is like, I don't know, it's a coin flip between now and the election. It's not a coin flip, Tom Lee. The market is speaking to us.
I saw him a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, hey, Tom, what's going on? I couldn't even finish saying, how are you? He's like, hey, JC, so what do you think about the market? I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, hi, JC, how are you? Good to see you. No, just right into the market. He starts laughing. He goes, yeah. So what do you think? just full stop. All business.
JC, you want to take this question from Vicky? China, is it just a short squeeze or have they turned the corner? It's a squeeze, but it's really not a short squeeze. I don't think at this point. It might be.
It was the one of the most crowded trades, short China. Yeah. It's a short squeeze.
Positioning squeeze, right? I don't know. Like, you can't short the ADR.
Oh, so it's a positioning squeeze. It's not a short squeeze. Excuse me.
It's the same dynamic.
Well, in that case,
again, listen, it gets to the point where it's no longer a squeeze. The momentum's there. It's a chase, right? It builds on itself. But this is how it begins. I think
Vicky, same idea. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
same idea.
Let's bring on a Mr. Kenny Jefferson Crawl Glick.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tug it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Kenny Glick in the house. How about the Jets and the Giants? No points between the two. What was that all about?
Where do we start? Glick's picks on fire. I know everything revolves around me, but if you consistently bet against what you want to have happen, it's a win-win. I mean, betting Alabama was a no-brainer. Again, if you watch college sports, I think they're Georgia's probably the most overrated team I've seen in college football. But the Jets, baby, just when they gave you that hope, that's when you triple up, quadruple up. You knew they were losing to Denver. What a fantastic game. What a great watchable game that was. Woo! Woo! But at least the Georgia game was at least exciting. But, man, when my daughter FaceTimed me when they went ahead, it was the happiest moment I think I was ever having in my life.
Your daughter's the contrarian indicator?
And then 35 seconds later, it was like the entire state went dead. It was like a learning moment in highs and lows of life. Talking my daughter off the ledge at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be all right. It's just a football game.
Proud dad moment. Yeah. Be like, listen, sweetheart, I've been through this a lot.
Yeah. It's like, and the worst part about it was great. Now I got another team to disappoint me every week. So, oh my God. So, how are you?
I couldn't be better, Kenny. I didn't watch a second of football yesterday. Dolphins played tonight, so I just completely I decided to skip Sunday football yesterday altogether. Couldn't tell you the last time I went a full Sunday in the middle of the season without watching not even a second of football.
Wow.
So that's a shout out to me there. Kenny Glick, we got things on the move this morning, boy. What's on the radar?
Hey, man. Like I said, I don't always swing trade, but when I do, I buy the most hated stocks I've ever had, and that's the Chinese stocks. So we got a gap. My friends, the market doesn't want to let you make money. Again, as a lowly day trader, this is what they do to us. We find a chart that looks good. We're very excited. We want to get ready to buy it the next day. And what does it do? They gap it up the next day. Sometimes you just got to hold them. And those Chinese stocks, I mean, look at some of these charts. Here's the chart that I wanted to show you. I mean, I showed it to you last week. This is a 3-year chart.
Oh, yeah, got it. Sorry. We're good.
Yeah, I don't know if you got it. This is a 3-year chart. And when you come out of a 3-year bottom, this is how I found Carvana. This is how I found AMD when nobody liked AMD at 250. This is how I found most of my, the really good swing trade ideas coming out of, I call it the dungeon. And you get that Kardashian bottom. When you have a yearly Kardashian bottom, and then you're breaking over these 3-year VWAPs, I haven't seen a stock not follow through in a very, very long time. So again, we were looking for 115 on Alibaba, and it's already here. So again, the risk reward is now suddenly not in your favor. At 88, awesome buy. 92, 95, phenomenal. Up here, yeah, I still think you're going 121, but you're running out of risk reward in your favor at this point. But still like it. I mean, these stocks have been coiled springs ready to rock, and here we go.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'd love Steve to weigh in here because I think he would agree. BABA seems to be like the bellwether of Chinese equities where, if you want to not be in an ETF, just own BABA. If you want to own BABA, but you need to be in an ETF for whatever reason, you can own the ETF, right? Like you're getting bellwether status here from Alibaba, no question, right?
Absolutely. Or the PDD. I mean, the PDD started before all this because...
Yeah, but the PDD doesn't look like the rest of China. BABA does. That's why I'm thinking it's the bellwether. PDD is more like the leader.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I used to think of Baidu as the Baidu first and then Alibaba. Alibaba came into some weird... I mean, it was like a hated stock. It really was. People didn't care about the numbers. Jack Ma disappeared once that conspiracy theory got out there that he might have been a cyborg. The stock kind of went dead, so it was kind of weird. Yeah, but
Baidu's just such a small, tiny little nothing.
Compared to Baba.
Baba's a monster. Pinduoduo those are monsters. Baidu's a rounding error.
Gotcha. And if you want to just buy the index, like I said, the CQQ, it's easy to remember. It's the China QQQ. So this one has made
CQQQ, it's Chinese technology.
Yeah. Perfect.
K-Web is Chinese internet.
Very good.
And then FXI is the artist formerly known as the Tsinghua 25.
Right. And all have been good choices. So.
All have been good choices. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, it was hard to be long and wrong anything China over the last, 5 or 6 days. And that's where I'm going to remain. The market kind of ran out of steam on the big QQQ. UVXY gave us a little indication that, we're going to see some volatility. And here we are, just another beautiful sector rotation, keeping the bull market alive. And as the perma bear here, again, the perma bear who lives in reality, again, I'm not going to fight the market anymore. It's a losing battle. But, I'll look to play the fade if the fade comes.
Anything non-Asian.
ASTS, this thing, yeah. I mean, we're going on, what is it now? Since the break of like late May. Owning it, yeah, it hasn't been great, and the breakdown happened, and that is what is so amazing about the stock. There was no reason to buy it, and then it came into a 2-year. Here's let me show you this chart right here. Broke down under the monthly, broke down under the recent support, broke 22.50. There was no reason to believe this thing wasn't going to $20, and then we had this. This is one of my favorite chart patterns ever. So it's the fake out, shake out, breakout, faux show, bro. So here you are.
Faux show, bro. I really love that, Kenny. Seriously.
And it's been a chart pattern before VWAP, before most technical analysis. We learned that the market tries to get you out. So it breaks down, gets all those stops lit up, and then it reverses. And when you have VWAP nearby after the faux show, bro, this has been the greatest trade, and especially on a name that you're focused on. So here you go from being, all right, this one's dead. We're going to 20, maybe 17.50, and then it reverses, and you got the fake out, shake out, and then you're back above the VWAP. You need to be buying this stock because when it fools people, the shorts are off. The shorts are caught off guard. The guys that just sold out of the stock that thought it was going to roll over, they're like, oh, wait, we're reversing. So you got 2 or 3 reasons that they're going to start buying this. And then there really wasn't much going on Friday except for this stock rocking. And you had some weekly option expiration here, 23s, 24s that were nickel dime options that went to $2 or $3. These are 100 baggers. So it was a pretty sick close on ASTS. So definitely,
ladies and gentlemen, I highly encourage you to join Kenny in the room every day. Where else will you be able to find the faux show, bro?
Faux show, bro.
Faux show, bro.
Fake out, shake out, breakout, faux show, bro. Fantastic, right. Kenny. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this a while. And if you ain't fading, you ain't trading. I like that. Spencer, I like that one. I should have known that limerick.
That's not me, man. That's Dennis. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Is that
a Dennis Dick thing?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Shapiro thing.
Maybe he got it from somebody else. I don't even know. I don't know.
By the way, if you don't know what that means, if you're not fading, you're not trading. So basically, when you come into the morning and you see a stock that you wanted to buy that's gapped up, your first instinct is, oh man, I wish I would have bought it. But then there's usually people that are going to sell it. So you get that short selling right at the open. And again, I'll look to see what Alibaba does. But again, I'm afraid to get in the way of this name right now. But I will look to play the fade. Sometimes you get it, and then it turns into the faux show, bro. So you're shorter at the open, and then you're a buyer later on, and you make money on both sides. It's fantastic. All right, kids. I'll see you guys later.
Fantastic. Adios.
Should we bring on today's future guest, Mr. Lindzon?
We should.
Yeah? All right. Let's do that right now.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Oh, Mr. Lindzon. How are you, my friend?
It's early. Oh, Strazza with his radio pink shirt.
New haircut. Who dis?
How are you?
You're flexing. I think you're flexing little abs, little
Strazza's
chest.
looking good.
You want to see him?
Been on the promo program.
So we're coming to your hometown soon.
Coronado, baby, sold out show.
Big fan of Coronado. What a great place. You're going to be there too, Howard?
I am. Yes, my kids are coming, so I have to be there.
Is Ellen coming?
Ellen's on stage this year talking real estate.
Ellen's one of my favorite Lindzons.
Ellen's probably everybody's favorite Lindzon.
That's probably your kids are pretty cool. Rachel's kind of awesome.
Rachel's kind of awesome. Max is going to do a vape session, teach people how to vape with new Chinese. There's different vaping strategies. You can
Right.
how to rip Chinese vapes,
How to vape safely.
how to speed up the cancer process.
Yeah.
Direct from Wuhan to Han. Where are you in? You're in Florida, Steve.
Yep. Still down here in the Florida Keys.
And no, I don't need a double espresso. Okay, listen to this, Dawson. My fucking eyes. Okay, here's how it goes. I don't smoke, but I got puffy eyes. I don't know. I'm just. My soul is tired. My soul is very tired. My puffy eyes just mean I'm smiling. I'm smiling underneath.
Maybe if you start smoking weed, these pot stocks will start working, Lindzon.
I'm the same way, Howard. I don't know how my eyes get this way either.
I tell you what, though, weed. Talk about like one sector that's just missed every bull market. I feel bad for a couple of my friends that have spent their life in weed.
Even China's working, Howard. Even China is working.
I know.
China's a story on Trends with Friends, Phil and you. We had to be patient. I think the story of this is because I just went through this. It's really an interesting market, right? As I've gotten older and we do Trends with Friends every week, the favorite thing I do is I like talking to smart people, right? Like as I've gotten older, puffy eye means kidney problems. I have 3 weeks to live based on the voice stream. I'm going to have to go check my fucking kidney. I came on a stock show, like turn the comments off. I can't concentrate.
That's tough.
The attention span of a nut.
But we got a tough chat.
Yeah, man, they give it to you straight. You know,
I love it. Hopefully, he can send me an Amazon link. I was just
they call me out on my bullshit too, Lindzon. It's great.
They can call. Listen, no one has less bullshit than me. I think so. I'm not worried about that. If you got medical ideas, though, I'm all for it. I just ordered some fiber from Amazon. Amazon, if they're collecting data, they already know how long I'm going to live based on all the medical requests I have. I'm going to get a surprise by Amazon saying, "I don't think this is you. You passed away based on our records 6 years ago from all the meds."
Amazon data scientists are very worried about you.
So I was in Italy, and as 59-year-olds do, we started talking about stool, or in the words of people your age, shit. And being regular, because that's what 59-year-old people. Anyways, within 3 seconds, bang, 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 links were flying, and I've got some fiber product that supposedly is just will save me 10 minutes a day wiping. So this is the kind of stuff when you're 29 and go on these trips does not happen. So the people at Amazon
drank the Amarone. I told you, drink the Amarone della Valpolicella, and you liked it.
Oh my god, dude! Prosecco. Again, I'm not a wine guy. And I know you've tried to teach me about wine. My dad was a wine guy, and anybody whose dad is a wine guy, or his dad's an art collector, or his dad's a this collector, rebels against that. So I'm not blaming my parents, but like, you're 8 years old and your dad's in the wine cellar and he's fucking making love to his wine. You're going to rebel against that, right? I mean, you may try doing a couple things to a wine bottle in your life. I'm not going to say that didn't happen. But anyways, Prosecco is fantastic. The other wine that's blown me away on my trips, because you've helped me, is Rosé of Provence.
Yeah.
Okay. So I learned a few things about wine. But anyways, with China, I think we talked about it on Trends with Friends.
They make wine too in China. Did you know that?
This China trade, you had to be in it. Like, of course, if you got signals and you're a great trader, but this trade exploded out of a lot. It had all the signals, like money was pouring out of it. You've got the story of Z running most of the CEOs out of town. I mean, there's a very my type of story about China is who owns all the stock in China out of this bear market? Z, right? Who's going to sell stock eventually? Z, but he ain't selling stock right now, right? Like, he's been buying Baba probably for 3 years once he kicked out the little skinny guy. And if you look at the Baba numbers, and we talked about it for about 6-7 months in the show, revenue is up 600% since they went public, and the stock's flat. So I don't know how high these stocks go, but it's definitely beginning of a bull market this time in China. There will be pullbacks. I'm not a Chinese stock fan. The way these stocks were created in the United States, who knows what you actually own? So I'm anti-China personally. I'm anti, they send this country vapes, they send this country fentanyl, they've got TikTok. So I think there's better things for me to
Bats with viruses.
Well, so what I'm hearing
out of a lab. I mean, you would think that, are they that dumb? They need bats to do a lab thing? I don't think so. Anyways.
So what I'm hearing is you can't buy these things here, right? You don't want to chase them here.
I've been a seller. I've been a small seller. I added some 10 cent last week as I sold down some Bubba, but Bubba's up huge again today. For me, it's just like 5%. I was speculating using the China play because everything was aligning perfectly. And the people that I really like to look at stuff, JC and Phil Perlman, like the behavioral guy, the thoughtful guy, and the trader, JC, combined with like the price action that I was seeing in my own theory about Z and the 3-year bear market. If you look at Baba or you look at 10 cent, very much like the NASDAQ in pretty much down 80 to 90%. So very much like the NASDAQ in 99. Okay. Yeah. But if you talk to your Asian friends, and I do, and you talk to people that live in Taiwan, and you talk to people that live in China.
They're not bullish. They're not bullish.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying that they're using the products, meaning it's not like 10 cent was not the number one app in. Right. So at some point, the pressure was going to relieve. Now, our theories about why these things went down could be the economy, just like 99. But I also believe Z's president forever, and Z wants to be like Putin. And if you're going to be president forever, you might as well have the most money in the world. And the way to own the most money in the world is to own all the stocks on the cheap. And that's what he's probably been doing for the last 2 to 3 years. And now all he has to do is juice. Who's going to sue him? If I'm correct, who's going to stop him and go look at who owns all these stocks? So again, that's the conspiracy theory of me. If I'm going to have a conspiracy theory, it's going to be about China, not about the U.S. So
right,
either way, it's bullish.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back here. Let's bring it
I want
back
to talk
here.
about the sentiment around this trade. This was all sentiment, not price. Like if you were in China, JC, before last week, you really got there through sentiment analysis, not quite price. In other words, the reversals weren't really in.
Correct. You had to be in there. They just came out of like, bam. They looked like they could be coming for a year, and then
it's double bottom. It's a double bottom in a lot of these things.
The bases were shaping up. If you look at a 10 cent, the base is now in. Baba, it's still working even with the move since last week. But if you were accumulating in these bases, you could have done so, I think, pretty responsively using sentiment as your evidence, as your bullish evidence. In other words, I think it got to the point for these stocks where all she needed to do, or the Chinese government needed to do, was show the market that they're going to stop locking up CEOs, and the stocks will pop on that. Like it was that bad. They don't need good news. The Chinese manufacturing data that we got last night that's causing this rally, it wasn't good. It was simply less bad than they thought. Like we're at complete and total washout zone in China where you don't need good news. You just need less bad. And the littlest things are now driving monster gains. Can we
get to American Lindzon? I like American Lindzon.
Listen, my life is America. I love me some America.
Hold on. All right, throw up slide 15, please. So years ago, Lindzon calls me up and he says, JC, we got to find the next $100 billion company. That's what we need to find. We need rare digital assets. Those were that was unique, rare digital assets. We got to find the next $100 billion company, JC. Go figure it out. And I was like, all right, I don't know how to do that. Lindzon's like, you'll figure it out. Call your team. So I call Strazza. I'm like, yo, Lindzon says that we got to find the next $100 billion company. So how do we do that? And then Strazza's like, rabbit wheel starts spinning in his head. He's like, well, if we're looking for the next $100 billion company and we're looking for companies that can scale, we got to kick the utilities out of there, consumer staples, the types of companies that can't scale, like the non-Howard Lindzon type names, right? Get them out of there. They're not welcome. We got to limit the market cap because obviously the next $100 billion company is the one that's at 99 right now. So that doesn't make any sense. That's not helpful. So let's cap it at 30. So even if we're buying a $30 billion company, it's still a triple before it gets to 100. That's cool. So that 2 to 30 billion was our sweet spot. And we decided to call it the 2 to 100 club. But Howard Lindzon was the inspiration behind all of this. And as it turns out, it's like one of our favorite, most successful scans that we've done ever. So thank you for the inspiration, Mr. Lindzon.
Yeah, thank you. So here's my thoughts on this, because I know you guys do it. And my reasoning was this was happening in the private markets, like, and it was broken, right? Like, so, I live in both worlds. And what was happening was everything became a unicorn, right? People were thinking in the term of, sadly, people continue to use that playbook and still go on. And there was this, oh, I'm going to, like, for example, with Ramen, I invested in an $8 million valuation, became a unicorn, right? And, by 2017, 2018, I'm like, it just got silly, in my opinion, right? Like, people were just taking the Robinhood example or the Uber example, as we just saw with Grab, and I want to come back to that, but they were taking that example and just applying it to every founder they met, right? And they willed it to reality. There was a point in 2020 post-COVID where everything was just a unicorn for whatever the hell reason was, right? ZERP and we're not dead. So if we're not dead, we might as well mark things up to the moon. And at that time, I said to you, I said, man, this is going to play out in the public. It's much easier to play out in the public markets, right? Like, if I'm going to go find a 10 or 20 bagger, I'd rather now searching in the public market, right? Because I felt like we had gotten a little bit too frothy in the private markets. And so that's when I came to you and said this. And I said, there's a lot of tech companies or companies with network effects or high margins that are misunderstood. And we have to come up with the screen for that. I think this is still an interesting model. You might be able to call it 3 to 30 or 5 to 50 at this point, because a 10 bagger in the stock market, especially with the ability to use options and other things are good. But I'm glad it's working. I've got a bunch of names that I follow, and I look at this list as well. How are you pulling this list now? Because unfortunately, I'm blind and I can't see not only my prostate and my fiber problem, I can't see the list right now.
I email it to you every Wednesday, Howard.
No, I know, but I can't see it on the screen here. So I don't know if a couple of the ideas that
we got to do better with that.
Yeah, we'll turn them horizontal. You know how we did the horizontal ones? Let's do that.
Yep. It's simply filtered. It's sorted by relative strength, by performance. The ones that new highs are
2 to 30 billion anywhere in the world. You got a Swedish company here.
Yeah, I see it. But how do you decide? Because so I'm looking at this one. I think I brought it up last week. AVAV, which is a drone company, around 5 billion.
It's a ticker.
AVAV, and I'm wondering, how does that get on a list like this?
It gets on the list by showing relative strength, right?
I don't think, is that a U.S. listed equity? AVAB?
I know.
Yeah, it's about 10%
AVAV. Adam Victor. I'm just trying
I can't find it.
Okay. Howard, it's 10% off its highs. That's why it's not on this list. All these stocks are making new 52-week highs.
Got it. Okay.
Because if you're
it theoretically would show
highs,
up.
So if your stock's not making new 52-week highs, like it's underperforming, right? So this only looks for the best ones. Because here's the thing, Howard.
LM Ericsson, Jesus.
When you tasked me to find the next $100 billion stock, we reverse engineered what it would take for a stock to get to 100 billion. And we went back and looked. And as it turns out, making a lot of new 52-week lows is not a great way to get to 100 billion. Yeah. Mathematically, a stock has to make a lot of new highs in order to get there. So if we know that it's going to take a ton of new 52-week highs to get there, we just start there. So we just start the highs list, which I know.
And we also found that we can do a far more sophisticated scan here, where we're using stuff like, floor for margin, margin growth. We're looking at sales growth, EPS growth, all of these different things, right? And we can get to the list of good names that way, or we can just more or less get that same list over time by doing it.
Is there somebody on the team running this through FinChat or something to try and piece together a fundamental story? So what I find
definitely not.
Okay. Because I think catalysts matter to me. So the other thing that I would add on top of this, so for example, if I look at this list and I'm not trading right now, I'm just too busy with stock twits and indexing, because I'm just not, occasionally I'll put on a trade like the China trade.
And bike riding.
Yeah. What's that?
And bike riding.
And bike riding. Not as much as
mostly bike riding.
But So do you have something here on how long it's been on the list too, or no?
You're the second person to ask us that in a week.
I don't know if that means anything, but I think it would help me understand like how strong it's persisted.
So-
you could put so many things on these lists, so whatever. But
You'll
you'll really like
up.
he'll really like the beat report, JC, because that's kind of in the same vein of what you're talking about. So we are tracking now the streak of positive reactions to earnings reports for individual stocks.
okay, well,
So
listen,
companies
they're
that
doing
are
a great job. I just, I as I get older, I think JC knows we're investing in a company called FRAC, FREC.com, which is just basically direct indexing. Like Robinhood, very simple way to direct index, and I'm doing the old man stuff, just dollar cost averaging into weakness.
Yeah.
And but having lists like this is the only way. If you're going to do stock picking, you got to find 1 or 2 or 3 lists that kind of fit with your risk profile. I like all-time highs, so that's why this list appeals to me.
Yeah, Lindzon, in the chat, Roberto Wilco talking about how the new 52-week highs list has always been the best scan. That is like Howard Lindzon 101. Howard Lindzon loves hanging out on the new highs list.
True. Well, I'm just saying that's where stories are being written. So stocks are stories, and you can have a story with no financials, DJT with GME. You can have stocks with no story. So I avoid those. The reason I asked about the fundamental overlay is I want to know the stocks where institutions, they have to tell stories to their boss. Like Steve, you work with Stevie Cohen. I imagine you couldn't go to him with the stock and go chart breaker. You'd probably have to outline what people don't understand and what story they're missing. With the old Apple story was like the white earbuds, right? Like people were, you couldn't necessarily see if they had an iPhone, but you saw them on a treadmill with the white earbuds, right? Yeah. And so, the one that I kind of been watching, I'm not a defense guy, and the defense stocks are going well, is this highly volatile, drone company, AVAV, much like I looked at Axon over the days, one of my bigger position, AXON, which is the taser company and the camera company. And, I like to see I like to understand the trend that's underlying the actual financial story, because eventually you're going to have 20, 30% pullbacks. And if you don't really understand, if you want to hold these things for big gains, you got to hold it through these individual stock 20 to even 50% pullbacks. If you don't really understand the catalyst of why you owned it, you're just going to get shaken out at the wrong time. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you're truly just a technical trader. But for me, the reason I could hold Apple and hold Google is because I truly feel like I use the products and I understand why I think these products are going to be around in 10 years. So it just gets me out of the little flipping around the edges. So
I just, what I do, Howard, when I get shook out, I just buy it back.
I'm not good at that. So again, it's just something I've learned over time. I move on. I'm busy. I don't trade for a living. So I'm trying to hold stocks for as long as I can. And I'll be honest with you, I'm much better at helping other people do it than myself. I built this degenerate economy index that's just crushing.
Do as I say, not as I do kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's been a big mistake in our whole industry that we're all going to change going forward is in this first web era and the second web era is especially false profits they've increased is I don't want to pay $100 a month for mentorship. If that guy was so good, he'd be a hedge fund. Okay. That was the worst reasoning for young investors to make fun of people like us, right? Just people who love talking about the market. And, I don't want to manage your money. One of the worst jobs in the world, as I've told JC this, is managing other people's money.
I don't want anybody's money.
Yeah. So what young people are supposed to be doing is learning how to do this themselves and paying for mentorship. Now, go say that out loud on Twitter all day, and you'll just get run over by people saying, if you're any good, you'd be trading your own money. Guess what?
But those people are dumb. And those people are also
That's
angry.
the internet.
Those people are also angry because it's easy for us to go out and do the same work that we're doing anyway, whether anybody read it or not. And people all over the world come in droves to buy it. And those angry people, if they tried to do that, they know that nobody would care and nobody would buy it. And that makes them very sad, right?
No,
So
I'm not commenting on not commenting on the people. I'm trying to educate people by saying find mentors. Like the era that
I
we're
had him.
moving to.
I had him.
Yeah, you have them, I have them. I don't care
Howard.
who I get. I don't care who I get the idea from if it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. When I wake up every day, my job is to test, probe, just like an animal in the desert, in the wild would probe. My job is as an investor is to probe. I turned on the thing this morning. I was making fun of Grab. I turned on your show this morning and just listened before I came on, and I'm like, I hadn't pulled up Grab in a long time. Because it was a SPAC, because it was like neglected, because Asia was out of favor. I remember last time I checked, it was like in the 2s or low 3s. Okay. But I know the story from 3-4 years ago when what's his name took it public. The all in
Grab? It was
no.
Brad
What's his name? The crossover hedge fund guy who has his
Brad Gerstner?
Gerstner did it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a big Gerstner position.
Ultimate.
So I can easily ping Gerstner or somebody on the team and say, hey, how do you guys still feel about this? So I can do a little work behind the scene, but technically that looks fantastic. Now, is there legs to that trade? That's what would get me excited is like, is the story intact that Gerstner did this SPAC at $10? That's what's interesting to me. I don't want to waste my time staring at a $3 ticker knowing that it's got to run to 4.5 and they're looking to sell it. So I try and combine, like we're all different, but I try and combine the technicals first. But then if I don't have the story, what's the point? Because I need to be able to tell myself that story. So when I see the stock down a week when the market's going up, I don't have to worry, if there's no news, I don't necessarily have to worry. And I definitely use stops, but I don't want to have to be stopped out of things that could be 10 baggers.
Here, let me try to give you the story, and then you text Brad later, and then let me know how I did. This is a basic, this is probably the second largest, most recognizable consumer brand out there. And this is simply a demographic story, right? This is an emerging markets growth story. I think it's as simple as that. This was Uber's business. They sold it to him back in 2018. Just like we want to own Uber, making a broad bet on the U.S. consumer. I think it's the same thing out in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I own
it's the Uber of Southeast Asia. Like that's the official.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
All the same stuff.
If you take a look at SE, my friend Justin Saslow, who works at Ribbit, got me into that. It's a gaming. They were the first Asian gaming stock to rip off a bottom. So the good news about Grab is, again, I don't think it has the margins that SC Gaming has.
But Uber doesn't either. That's just the business.
Yeah. I don't own Uber myself right now, but I guess listen, I own the S&P 500 and the QQQ, so I probably own all the stocks you're talking about. But the Grab one was interesting. I've been looking at this AVAV. If you pull up Axon, Axon's taught me the most over the last 5 years. If you pull that chart up.
So this is the police tasers. That's a mega trend.
Yeah, because no one's heard about. If you say the word taser, people go, oh, but it's not even named after their product anymore, right? They bought a company that has sent this company on a massive trajectory, and you had to do the fundamental and the technical to get this right because they have multiple business lines. Anyways.
Howard, how about broadly speaking though, right? Like just like you come to JC or I, to be chart experts, you're an expert in private market valuations. Some of these secular growth industries like software, internet, social media, the mega trends. Like you said, you're friends with the guys out there on the West Coast who are in these deals and doing this stuff. There was a time in 2021 where it seemed like this is crazy. We'll never get back here. We'll never see these valuations again. And like Grab is a great example. Some of these charts had absolutely, holes blown in them, down 85, 90, 95%. But now you look at some of these same companies that we thought could never get to those valuations again. They're completing primary trend reversals. They're working up the right-hand sides of bases. And some of them are attacking and getting to and through their prior cycle highs. So like, where are we in the valuation landscape? Like, how far can this thing go? Because interest rates today are not where they were back in 2021.
Yeah, I think it's the question, right? Like I've been battling it for when I started getting bearish on. So I flipped to VC seed stage investing just out of passion, 05, 06. And that happened to be the exact right time. That was the Web 2, YouTube, Twitter. It wasn't any of that. I was a genius. I was just, I was just like, I can't beat the S&P. Like it was the same thing I'm telling you here. Is like, I might as well index, right? Like I didn't have enough edge mentally or skill wise or my heart wasn't in it. I just felt like, wow, I got to change my career. And as luck would have it, the internet was really about to explode. Web 2. I had a few good ideas, yada, 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 made a lot of money. By 2016, things just got weird. Everybody was like, Howard's smart, like he knows what he's doing. You know, we had Robinhood going, and I'm like, okay, I'm smart, but like I'm not that much alpha smart, right? And I think what happened was everybody, like anything, started really coming into the space, right, at the wrong time. So now you have 2016, you got the valuations of stuff that I used to do at 2 million valuation up to 8 or 10 million or 15 or 20 million valuation. And the math really starts to lose sense, but no one was talking about the math. Everybody was just had this word unicorn, and I want to be the next Uber. I want to be the next Airbnb. Right. And so the tone of the conversation started to change. Then you had SoftBank enter the market, and think about when the market really changed. 2015, a company named OpenAI was started with 50 million from Elon. No one knows that. No one remembers that that's why it started, because it started with very little fanfare because it was a nonprofit. At that same time, SoftBank enters the other market, which is the glamour market, and starts writing $200, $300, $400 million checks into companies who were already like, the world had moved on. Like AI was being truly the next thing. And so not only did you have SoftBank misplaying the market in terms of like the amount of money they put to work, everybody copied SoftBank. So everybody wanted to be SoftBank. No one wanted to invest in AI. So you had Index, you had Andreessen, you had Coatue, you had everybody wanting to be SoftBank at a time when the market was kind of coming to an end. So you have all this misallocation capital right at the top. Now, no one rang a bell at the top. In hindsight, it's quite easy to see that SoftBank writing $300 million checks into 2-year-old businesses versus just putting it to work in the QQQs, not a good idea. And guess what happens? Now we know not only was it a misallocation of capital, they should have been investing in AI in 2015 when AI really got off the ground.
What you're describing, Howard, would you say, like we talk about performance chasing all the time, especially in the fourth quarter in public markets, same dynamic in private?
It's the biggest chase of all time.
Got it.
And it was because
it's harder to measure. It's harder to
quantify. In history, right? They'll look back at that chase and just shake their heads, right? Like, not only did SoftBank, you got to give them credit. They manned up, they raised money, the sovereign money, and they made a market. Like they just said, we're going to corner the market in private companies. I think what happened was, instead of everybody recognizing that was kind of the WeWork kind of top and the Uber of this top, people looked at it and said, we got to copy SoftBank. Like they picked the wrong hero to copy. But at the time there was ZERP. At the time there was a Trump, and you could bully him around. At the time there was this idea of a unicorn. And at the time there was just this giant chase to corner the private markets and say, be the vanguard of private investing, right? Corner that market of high 20 net returns, create a ticker around it, own the whole funnel. And guess what? It just was a fake. It was a very flimsy market because there's just not enough liquidity for this stuff.
Yeah, but so what happened to the funds and the players that were really pouring in? Because like you said, liquidity is tough. You can't just divest. Right.
So this is the inside baseball part. This is where I think the macro is the hardest it's ever been. The game. This is that game of the Titanic. Like I see in my industry, the exact same game being played. Yep. Yet the movie has changed. And this is why the public markets continue to outperform when maybe this is why I'm surprised, but not so much anymore. The public market. There is so much money misallocated to private markets still right now and continuing to get misallocated for whatever reason, because people want to be part of the next Robinhood or Uber or Grab, that they forget that locking your money up for 10 to 12 years when interest rates are 6% is just stupid. So there's a lot of young people still playing the playbook from ZERP, and we've completely moved on to like another playbook, which is show me what you make on my money year. Show me a DPI. Show me your actual liquid returns over 3 years. Because if you're gonna get me 16% a year over 10 years or 12% a year DPI in a 10-year lockup fund, you're not really doing you're not doing a great job.
Can I just finish up with one more question, Howard? We're over, so I appreciate. I know you're busy. I appreciate the time you've given us. Just the last thing, talking with Dan Ives the other day, I was just really surprised to hear just how much the United States is dominating the AI market, particularly because Nvidia is American, Microsoft, like Google, like these are all American companies. But I hadn't quite thought of that like that. Like America is completely dominating the AI market. And that, as it turns out, is like a defense, right? That's part of America's defense towards other countries. Number one, are you surprised just how much America is dominating AI? Or does that make sense to you? How do you think about all that?
Define dominant.
There's no other companies in the world that are even in the conversation.
No. Dan's great, but he's missing the key point. What are they? There's levels of domination. Right now, our kids' brains are dominated by vaping. 70% of college kids are vaping?
I don't know anybody who vapes, Howard.
Because you're 40 with 3 kids, okay? Go to college, go see kids with plumes of smoke. These are Chinese companies. Let's talk about fentanyl, vaping, and TikTok. They are dominating the algos of our brain at the age that matters. So yes, Facebook controls things, NVIDIA controls things, Microsoft has got clamps around OpenAI. Google's got Gemini, which I'm the most bullish on. Apple's going to have their AI.
Are you most bullish on Google's Gemini?
Yeah, because I don't need AI. I write for myself. I believe AI is going to be like agent form, like StockTwits. You'll flip 2 to 20 into an AI agent, meaning why should someone have to look at a list if they can have a feed and just the tickers come to them through their Ray-Ban glasses or right into their Robinhood feed. So I think things are going to flip. I think AI is like an incredible tool for small businesses, but I'm not as bullish on AI as like the be all end all. I just think AI is going to be part of this trend where the true creators, people like you and smaller businesses, can really juice their businesses, much like YouTube has helped the creator economy. I think AI will help the people that know how to be creators be better creators without hiring people, because the number one thing that creators suffer with, and I'm a creator, is hiring, like managing people. And so if I can turn myself into an agent and create all kinds of formulas where I'm growing without hiring people, that is the true small cap thing that AI will release. Everybody's looking still at this old playbook. Let me raise hundreds of billions of dollars for NVIDIA and lock up my supply, kind of like an oil industry or the rig industry. And I'm going to say, I'm going to, be bold and say, this is an industry that's going to help people like us with true talent, with true craft, that don't want to hire 6 people, because that's what we're bad at, is work from home. How do we manage 6 people who haven't got mentorship, who don't know how to manage their time well, and they think they're doing well, but you and I know they're not doing well because we have different expectations of what production is. So I'm pretty excited about AI from that way. Obviously, China, if this is true and entering a new bull market, you're right. But until we deal with TikTok, which is a foreign adversary, in my opinion, meaning I don't need it.
So why don't we just ban them, right? Like JC's point is, why
don't we ban the FDA? The FDA hates. The FDA can't stop. They hate these Chinese vaping companies, and they still can't stop it. I mean, it's a big country. We've got 340 million people. We're not like Israel. Israel during this war has shut down maps. There's not a person in Israel that can open a mapping product. Can you imagine America? You can imagine one of our presidents, and they've been out with Israel's been without use of maps in all their apps for the last year, right? They're scrambling apps. Can you imagine Biden or Kamala or Trump telling people they can't use maps? Can you imagine what would happen in this country if we had a real enemy and we had to go off the grid for a year? So a lot of it is just we don't have the willpower. And I don't have an answer to that.
Last question, Howard, and then we'll let you run. The glasses, the Meta glasses.
Big fan.
Are you? See, freaking Strazza was breaking my balls.
No, the market's already voted. Ray-Ban is, like I said, this is fashion.
Has the market voted?
Yeah, not fashionable. I'm not buying.
Why do you hold on? Time out. Stop. Why do you say the market has voted?
because
Look at
first of all,
Meta's stock
the
price.
product works. If you listen to some of the people that I trust,
Michael PRAX.
for example, I'm the first guy that I own Ray-Bans. Ray-Bans are a classic piece of
But
fashion.
you got the
right?
regular ones. You don't have the.
But the regular ones work too, right? Like in 2-3 years, I don't need AI, but I would love to put on my glasses. I hate going to museums, but the world is a
Are you
museum.
gonna have like notifications, like while you're having a conversation, you're getting like text messages? That
I
seems so
don't,
annoying.
I'm sure you can turn it off, but if I'm walking alone in New York and I'm looking, I may want to know the history of these things. I hate going to museums, but if the world turns into a museum, I'm kind of into it.
Oh, you can get the history of the building, like on the thing. Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it's just
I see.
knowledge. The best way to learn knowledge is when you're not trying to learn knowledge. Like the best way to learn about wine is from someone who's really passionate about wine. You want to do it on your time, not on their time. So I just think
Howard
it
Lindzon and
opens.
I go to dinner. We were eating Wagyu. We were in I think we were in Arizona, and we're eating dinner. And I was like, Howard, we got a bottle of wine. He's like, we're gonna get a bottle of wine. I'm like, yes, Howard, we're having a steak dinner. We're gonna get a bottle of wine. I forget what we get. It was a nice bottle. It was a Bordeaux or something like that. I poured, they poured Lindzon a glass of wine. The glass of wine is sitting there the entire dinner. He didn't even touch the wine.
That's
I'm
why
pretty sure I took it from you and drank it myself.
Tom likes eating dinner with me because he gets my wine.
We should have dinner more often.
There's two things. There are two things that are working. Coke Zero is probably the greatest drink in the history of soda, and Coke. I think if you go look at the chart, I think Coca-Cola is breaking out. I think the world's returning to this.
Howard.
And
Bore
then,
me more. China just had its best week and best day ever, and you're coming on here talking about Coca-Cola. You want to buy?
No, I just think Coke Zero is an incredible drink. It's if you like Coke, you're going to like Coke Zero. And then the other thing is fashology, right? I've talked about it for a decade.
Yep.
Meta is the uncoolest company. The lockup with Ray-Ban
becoming pretty cool these days.
right? Well, because Ray-Ban, if
Right.
Facebook, like Snapchat, launched their own Facebook branded glasses, it won't work. But every city has 100 sunglass huts that sell Ray-Bans, and kids will buy Ray-Bans. They won't buy Facebook glasses.
Yeah.
This is a fashion product, not a technology product.
So
just like the
hold on.
earbuds were a fashion product. It was a statement.
To that point, I think, and I'm curious if you agree with me, that the founders and the leaders of these companies who make these big blockbuster products that catch on and get trendy, I don't think the iPhone and Apple's products would have caught on as quickly. Listen, they're amazing, but it helped that Steve Jobs was running that company. He was cool. How important is it now that Mark Zuckerberg is no longer a nerd? Like, how much does that matter for selling the next cool product? Make a face, Spencer. This is real.
No. I'm just saying, if Zuckerberg hadn't cut the genius of the launch is Ray-Ban. The company, the product's a flop without.
Is that
Ray-Ban
why
as the
Ethereum's
brand.
not working? Because Vitalik is just the opposite of cool.
So can Apple team up with Oakley?
No, because Luxottica, they're all owned by one brand. This is the genius of what he did. Luxottica owns all those brands.
Oh,
You got to
they own
understand,
Oakley and
he locked up distribution. He's the exclusive partner, and that's one brand. He cut a deal with a monopoly, and it's not about him making money off Ray-Ban. It's about him sourcing supply. It's like NVIDIA. He has the supply of all the cool brands. He could do an Oakley deal.
When they can make my Oakley Flax have some sort of smart lens that tells me the distance to the hole while I'm golfing, it's over.
And
It's
also,
over.
because
But that's what I'm
Strazza
saying.
needs help finding the balls because they're always like in the woods and stuff like that, and at the bottom of the lake.
Steve, that's where I go to storytelling. And again, this is why I index, because I don't think I would have owned Facebook for the last 400 points because I didn't know the story. Now Facebook has the best story of all. They could benefit from TikTok getting banned. They have WhatsApp, which is their global product. They have Instagram, which everybody's using. No one even talks about Facebook core product because no one cares. But they finally have a competitor to Apple, Android, and Apple because they partnered with a fashion company that's making the frames. And yes, Strava will come be attached to your eyes through your Ray-Ban glasses or through your Oakley glasses or through whatever cycling glass that you want. So it's going to be we are finally at the phase where fashion and technology meet, which is probably why Lulu has been dropping, is because they're really just a fashion company and they don't have a technology partner. And so we're at a very major inflection point in what I call this fashology.
All right, Howard, the Fun Police is here, so we got to hop. Howard, tell everybody about Oktoberfest. What's going on? Any tickets left, or are we sold out?
Sold out. you hit me up. Like if you're a very special person, like a
What if
child.
you're like
from a-
slightly special? Can you still hit you up?
I went to Vegas a lot as a kid. If you can prove that you're my child from Vegas, circa Comdex, 1996 to 2006, I was there with Bill Gates a lot. Who knows what could have happened?
Were you at the freak-offs in Vegas?
I'm just trying to make a bad joke. The Stocktoberfest is in Coronado. Hit me up if you really want to come, and we'll try and squeeze you in. And then I'm back running Stock Twits, and we're thinking through all this. JC and I have been thinking through content, live stuff for the last 3-4 months. So we're very bullish on mentorship. We're very bullish on education and teaching people how to market. You just quickly, you have this product called Robinhood, and you have this product called Coinbase. We may not like it, you may not like it, but let's be honest, they're almost perfect products, right? They have 50 million users. Commissions are almost zero, 24/7. The last thing left to do is to learn how to use these tools. They are the new hammers, and so people should be finding mentors like you guys and putting these tools to work. All right.
Appreciate it, Howard, giving us 40 minutes.
Go ahead. Sorry,
time.
Straz, what were you saying?
Well, first of all, how bullish are you on Coinbase? And then I want to say a nice thing about Stocktoberfest.
I'm not a crypto guy. I'm very bullish on Robinhood. I think I've been sharing for the last 6 months.
They've become a crypto stock now. I love
correct,
what they did, increasing their exposure to crypto.
It's going to be easier for Coinbase. Sorry, Coinbase will never move into stocks. That's just the DNA of Brian Armstrong. Whereas Robinhood could move into crypto, right? They're going to launch a stable coin. So while Coinbase was a better run business coming out of COVID, Robinhood's getting their shit together, mainly because they don't have to compete against anybody, right? If you look at Robinhood, their next competitor is Schwab, that bought TD Ameritrade, and Schwab's a $100 billion company. They don't give a shit about Robinhood anymore. Robinhood's a $20 billion company. So Robinhood has nothing but open space before somebody cares about it. Coinbase is in 9 billion battles with the SEC. And to be honest, just the way we just talked about the stock market is underowned. I mean, valuations are high, but the stock market is underowned. And excuse me, and I say that because of small caps. I say that because of the 2 to 100s. I say that because people own ETFs. They don't own the right stocks per se. And I think as people get smarter, they're going to unbundle some of these ETFs and do stuff themselves. All right.
Also, only 8% of the market is in ETFs. So it's
really
what?
It's 110 trillion dollar market cap in stocks, and it's only 8 trillion in ETFs. It's not that big of a deal.
I thought it was more. There was more ETFs than stocks, so that's what I was trying.
That might be true, but it's the AUM. So there's a long way to go. We're just getting going. Thank you, Howard. Appreciate you.
See you guys.
Adios.
Always love chatting with Howard. So generous with his time. Really, just would have hung out.
You know what I like about Howard? He gets me thinking about things that I wouldn't be thinking about normally.
Yeah.
Thinking about them in ways that I wouldn't normally be thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, he's one of the biggest trend guys, big story guys, really like mega trend guys I know. And he's so right. You could put a trade on something without a story and use the technicals. But if I know something's growing at 30% and is the Amazon of this exciting growing region around the world, and then I got a primary trend reversal, he's right. You're going to hold it longer. You're going to buy the dips better, right? You're not going to worry on the corrections. Like, it's easier that way when oh, this is quality that I hold. I sell puts in something like Coinbase. I'm happy to buy the stock, right? Like you can do better as a trader if you do know the longer term story.
For better or for worse, we love stories, right?
Yeah, as humans. And remember, Howard talks to a lot of different types of people than we do, right?
Yes.
Like,
yep,
very, very different.
Yeah,
right. Which is cool. I like that.
I hope he does go ask his friends about the Grab holdings for us.
He will. He's on the phone with him right now.
So listen, also Stocktoberfest, this is like some, I don't know, like cult conference where all the coolest guys in fintech hang out every year. And I'm still a little bit too new to the space. So by the time I came and started working at All-Star Charts, this conference was more or less like over. I think, the better Stocktoberfest days were probably like 10 years ago. I've heard all the
COVID
stories.
hit and the whole thing. I think that's what happened.
So I'm so glad everybody's bringing it back, or that they're bringing it back. And I've never been. So I'm like super excited to go and see.
We're getting burritos, midnight burritos from OB.
Right. Yes. I hear people jumping off roofs into pools and stuff. It just sounds like a crazy time.
Don't do that. Don't do that. And don't go to Tijuana. So there's like a joke. There's like an ongoing joke from like the locals there and like the longtime Stocktoberfest goers that like they take the new guys. This is you, Strazza, so be careful. And they convince them. They convince them that everyone's going to Tijuana late night. Like, oh, yo, everybody's going to Tijuana tonight. Let me just be the first one. Nobody's going to Tijuana. Right? Okay. Nobody's gonna go. So if you end up going, you're gonna be in the middle of Tijuana at 1 o'clock in the morning with some middle-aged financial advisor from Ohio wondering what the hell you're doing in Tijuana.
No, this is
don't do it. Nobody's going to Tijuana.
This is good. This is pertinent information. This is
pertinent information. This is veteran information. They're gonna try to get you. Don't let them do it to you, Strazza. Strazza's like, where is everybody? I'm here at the Donkey Show. Where's everybody? I thought we were going to Tijuana.
The truth is that it's nice to have these things like Future Proof and now Stocktoberfest because it's really just a little, it's like an annual reunion for us and our friends and the people that we interact with and do spaces with and have on the shows. And we meet new friends that will come and be guests on the shows, right? We got Dan Ives and David from the MUSQ ETF, and I'm sure we'll meet new friends at Stocktoberfest and have new guests on the shows.
Always new friends, old friends, too much booze, tacos, burritos, chilaquiles, you know.
Chilaquiles, yeah.
Hey, can I bring on Sam Gatlin?
Please.
Sam Gatlin.
Sam,
yes. Sam in the house.
I don't have your bumper ready yet. It should be ready today, actually, but it's not ready.
Oh, Spencer, you don't have Sam's bumper?
We have one. I don't know if it's like, I haven't seen it yet. I know it's done. I haven't seen it yet.
Let's run it.
I don't know. I don't like have it. I'm saying Izzy has it. He didn't share it with me, so I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's fine. Whatever, Sam. I'm just bringing you on cold. Sammy Gatlin coming to us from America's heartland.
What's up, guys? I was fully expecting an intro.
I know. I
know. Let me just tell you, Sam. You know, hell of a job in Chicago in the Portfolio Accelerator. Excellent job. That was good.
Thank you. Did you enjoy the biotech?
We're not talking biotechs. We're kicking you out of here.
I brought some biotechs along.
You better have
setups here.
All right, quick. Let's hit them. Run them down.
All right. So let's start with PRAX.
Yeah.
So this company is developing a pipeline of nervous system therapies. You've got the VWAP anchored to the all-time high. We're currently coiling right at that, as well as a massive volume shelf here. So I'm looking to buy a breakout above 60. Really? I also highlighted the volume pocket there. You've got a massive volume pocket from like 78 to 111 bucks. So this could really take off from here.
So long above 60, confirmation 78.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Next, let's do PHAT.
Love this name.
PHAT. So this one is
one of the top ticker symbols in the market.
It's so good, right? Yeah. And so they're making a drug for fat people, as the name suggests. It's an acid blocker. So we broke out above last summer's peak a few weeks ago, and we're retesting the breakout level. So I think this is a viable retest here. As long as fat holds above 17, I think you can be long targeting 24 and 35.
This chart is fat. You guys remember fat? Sam, you're too young. Steve, do you remember fat as like an adjective?
Oh yeah. It meant cool.
Yeah, I meant cool.
Yep.
All right. Anyway.
And I've got one more, guys. SLNO. So this one is doing rare disease.
This is a new one. Nobody told me about this one. Oh yeah, SLNO. That's right.
Yep. So this is a monthly candlestick chart. Yeah. And we have been coiling at a major polarity level for almost the entire year now. So 53 is really the important level. You can buy a breakout above 53 here. I don't know what the price target is, Strazza. Like, do you target the former all-time highs? Like,
I think you really do, because look, it might sound crazy sending this thing back towards 1,000 from here, but in September of last year, this thing rallied from below $5 to above 50 over the course of 5 months, not even.
Right, and it's been straight sideways since then too.
10x straight,
incredibly constructive.
Yeah, you know how you treat these. Your price target is higher and your time frame is longer. And you
put a trailing stop on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Leave it alone.
I mean, but these are biotechs, right? So if you ever do want to have a super aggressive price target, this is the right space.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, these are the stocks that can go 2 to 100.
Wait. All of our charts should have moon question mark on it.
Yeah, but not all charts can moon like a biotech can.
I like that.
That's right.
I do like that. Nice work there, Sam.
Nice
Thank you.
nice touch there.
Thank you.
Great job.
I also brought along some like precious metals charts, some marine shipping charts, coal charts. If you guys want to touch on anything,
Throw up slide 28. And we'll end it there.
Yes.
This
So
is the
Royal
one.
Gold.
Is this not the one?
You like the Royal Gold, JC? So this is a streaming company. So it looks a lot more like the gold futures. Kind of think of Wheaton Precious Metals. They're one of the largest streaming companies. It looks an awful lot like gold futures. However, Royal Gold has not broken out like gold futures have. So I think there could be a nice catch-up trade here. We could hit that first extension level pretty fast.
Yeah. And silver's on board now too. I think that's huge for the entire precious metals complex. Do you know if they have a mix between gold and silver? A lot of the royalty companies.
It's primarily gold, over 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, let's do some recess.
Get it.
Get out of here.
So my front door neighbor, he grew up in Bay Ridge. Just classic old school Brooklyn Italian neighborhood. His parents don't speak English. Like, I mean, just standard. They don't have to speak English in that neighborhood, right? Like, this is what we're talking about here. Alan B's Simone Gardens is arguably the best pizza in New York City. It's at least in the conversation. He grew up going there. You know, his parents live right by that. He lives across the street from me. And this is what he brought me last night as a present from visiting his parents. Alan B. Simone Gardens, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a great neighborly perk you have there. But let's be real here. This is classic New York pizza, but it is not New York style pizza, correct?
No, these are Sicilian squares.
Okay.
They put the cheese under the sauce.
They call this the grandma, right?
Yeah. This is
I
grandma.
think technically it might be grandma, but it's definitely more Sicilian than grandma, in my opinion. It's more Sicilian than grandma, but it's somewhere in the middle. And they put even my wife was like, "Oh, it's like a tomato pie." I was like, "No, sweetheart, this isn't Pennsylvania. This is from Brooklyn. It's not a tomato pie. There's cheese in there." She's like, "Oh, yeah, more Sicilian than grandma."
Yeah,
it looks fantastic. I just have to say also, while we're on this, you see this in the chat, Sam, about the Zim?
Yeah, I was just about to shout out Trader Isaac.
Check the blog.
We've got a blog post coming out later today.
Yeah.
Hey, there's about to be a major strike on the East Coast ports. Probably good for Zim. And
I couldn't care any less about that.
See what happens with these unions?
Here we go. You got them on the
my recess is that over the weekend I had my very first pistachio of my life.
God.
What'd you think?
It was fine. I mean, it was okay. I had just a plain salted pistachio, like from a bit.
Oh man, you got to eat the baklava, son.
You know, I know. I had to have just the nut by itself first to see if I could even eat it. And I can. I'm three for three, everyone.
Now dive in. JC's right. You need the baklava, and I would say really what you've really been missing if you haven't had pistachios all your life, just go and get some quality pistachio ice cream. It's some of the best ice cream out there. Go treat yourself. Some of that stuff.
It is good ice cream.
So the only nut that I have to test that is remaining that's on the table is walnuts. So that's the last one is the walnut, but almonds,
I feel like you're probably not missing much with the walnuts.
That's what everyone seems to say. Everyone said pistachios are the best. I don't know. Maybe the other stuff is good.
Walnuts are fine, but you know.
Pistachios is traditionally a bull market nut too.
Yeah, it's bull market nut, pistachios, no question.
Yeah. All right. Well,
same with the macadamias. So I have one new show, The Penguin. I'm a big Batman guy. I love everything and anything Batman. Like Dark Knight's one of my favorite movies of all time. New show, HBO, like we talk about, does everything just so well. It's called Penguin. So it's the backstory of Penguin. It has a big Joker vibe to it, where it's like you don't really know what's going on. There's no Batman in it, but it's, you know, Gotham City, all the same characters that you know and love. And Colin Farrell's performance is just mind blowing. Like, you don't know it's him. It's one of those characters. He plays the Penguin so well. He's got the limp going. He talks crazy. It's really 2 episodes so far.
So is
Really
he just
enjoying it.
Sopranos in Gotham City? Is that
He's Tony Soprano, but the Penguin.
Yeah.
Like it's
Okay.
it's really cool. They're doing a nice job with it.
got it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Sam, you got anything quick?
Well, on that note, I recently watched Boardwalk Empire. Have you guys seen that?
No, but my dad's
Hey.
been telling me I gotta watch it. It's on my
so
list.
good.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
like
I
6
love.
when that came out.
You liked it?
It's really good. Yeah, like The
hear this.
Sopranos is one of my favorite shows of all time. So I'm really
Hey.
into that mob stuff.
Who does corruption better than New Jersey? Nobody.
Yeah, Atlantic
Nobody.
City's
Shout
good
out
at it.
New Jersey. Big fan of New Jersey.
Shout out mob movies and shows. I just watched King of New York for the first time this weekend. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So what's today? Today's Monday. All right. So Gold Rush members getting your video later on today. Chart Request Live, new time, Mondays and Thursdays now, not Tuesdays. Mondays and Thursdays, 1 o'clock, right here on the channel. Chart Request Live. Be there. The Flow Show is now on Tuesdays. So if you're waiting for that, you wait another day. That's what we got. Thanks to Howard Lindzon. Thanks to Sam for bringing some biotechs. Thanks to the chat for hanging out. Go make some money. We'll see you later.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.